Ladies and gentlemen, check out the segment prior to this one. A huge revelation, okay? Chuck Grassley, along with the Durham Probe Special Counsel, are working in concert or, creating a parallel investigation along with the Durham Probe Special Counsel, found the FBI agent responsible for two major attempts to undermine Trump's presidency. Okay, two major attempts. Chuck Grassley was working with a very courageous individual from inside the Bureau who informed Chuck Grassley's office that there was an agent who, number one, allowed the Steele dossier to be utilized by the Bureau, filtered through government agencies, including the Bureau, knowing it was riddled with false information. And I'll read you the Washington Free Beacon article that broke the story and the Federalist article that also, broke this story, or helped break the story. Or at least is talking about this in depth. So you have an agent that was part of allowing the Steele dossier to be utilized by the United States government against Clinton and Democrats, the direct political rival of Clinton and Democrats. Think about that for a second. Democrats are guilty of everything they accuse Trump of. Now, we know this because of Chuck Grassley. I can't really do a great Chuck Grassley, but we know this because of Senator Grassley. But we also know this because of the Durham Probe Special Counsel. Grassley learned a lot of information from the first trial. Even though there was a conviction, I kept telling people the information derived from the trial, or the Sussman trial, was extremely, extremely important. That was a huge, that was a great, discovery process and trial, testimony derived from the trial. So Grassley utilized that in addition to the information derived from his source, and we found that the agent was not only involved in funneling or allowing the Steele dossier into the Bureau, but also involved in covering up for Hunter Biden's criminal activity in his emails. Okay? So here you have meet the FBI analyst behind the decade's biggest political disinformation campaigns. And like I said in my last segment, I'm not going to give you the agent's name, but you can go ahead and utilize and read the article, and he's not a household name yet, but he will be. The agent pushed Trump-Russia collusion and is now accused of discrediting Hunter Biden stories. An intelligence analyst behind the FBI's botched Trump-Russia collusion probe is now accused of using the Bureau's authority to discredit reports about Hunter's criminal activity months before the 2020. Okay, meet this agent. The FBI analyst is hardly a household name, but very courageous individuals in contact with the office of GOP Senator Chuck Grassley say he was behind the report 2 years ago that officials used as part of a, quote, scheme to undermine derogatory information connected to Hunter by falsely suggesting it was disinformation. The analyst, the FBI agent report also caused the Bureau to cease investigative activity into Hunter, according to a letter Grassley sent to the Justice Department and Bureau. Okay, this is how they do things. It's just bureaucracy. They hide behind bureaucracy. And that's how they roll. This is what happens, okay? They go ahead and they say, oh, there's criminal activity in these emails with Hunter, clear pay-to-play schemes, violations, people asking for help and advice. I mean, you'd have to read the emails. Anybody who doesn't read the emails doesn't know. If you're completely ignorant and you're saying, oh, that's nothing compared to what Kushner did, it's like, well, Kushner never had emails and never had 150 suspicious financial transactions. When they say Kushner made this amount of money, he was rich before all of this. Kushner's family's $1.8 billion in net worth. The Bidens were not. They were known as the poorest members of Congress for a long time. That was their claim to fame, or that was Joe's claim to fame. That's how you knew he was from Scranton Joe, and he was such a good person, and he was just, and then suddenly he got $9 million or so, and they said, well, it's from his speaking engagements and book deals. Have you heard him speak lately? I don't think so. So, anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe also to the stock market crash and the Bitcoin crash channels. I will be doing a lot more on those channels in August. August is going to be very important, ladies and gentlemen, because I keep telling you, there are going to be parallel investigations in the House, the Senate. We're already seeing that before midterms. There's going to be a huge pendulum shift, okay? Unfortunately, the recession is going to be a very bad recession. And it's going to get a lot worse going into December. We won't have a Republican Congress sworn in until January. So we'll have a lot more carnage, damage. When Democrats say Trump is dangerous, household median income was at record highs with Trump. Personal incomes were at record highs with Trump. Poverty was at record lows. You could just check it out. I've done a lot of work on this, and you can. The information is there. Reputable sources, census.gov. You can look. Poverty was at 10.5%. It's now over 14%. Okay? Over 14%. And household median incomes were at $68,700. Now it's $64,000, something like that. But inflation is at 9.1%. Real wages are down 4.4%. So it's not Trump who abandoned the working class. It's Democrats. It's not Trump who's the authoritarian, or the word that starts with an F that I'm not going to use. It's the Democrats, the left, the far left, that want to stifle, redefine words, because that's what authoritarians did, ladies and gentlemen, redefine words. When you redefine words and hide behind semantic games, that's what the authoritarians of the 1930s, 1940s did. Okay? And all tyrants. They have to, that's Orwellian, that's an Orwellian nightmare we're living through. You have to redefine words because your argument is not just, or you can't prove that you're right, or you can't form a coherent argument utilizing the language that exists. If you must redefine words and alter semantics, then you are telling the world you cannot win an argument utilizing the language that we have. And that's a problem. That shows that your position is illogical. But anyway, it's Democrats that want a ministry of truth or a disinformation czar. Okay? Literally from 1984. The authoritarians and tyrants are not Trump Republicans. Now, do I agree with what Marjorie Taylor Greene said? No. I don't even really understand what she was trying to convey. But am I glad that she's going to investigate the people who tried to set up and frame Trump? Yeah, I'm glad. And I want Trump Republicans to do exactly what Democrats did. Except with Trump Republicans, they actually have crimes to investigate. Okay, you didn't have crimes with Trump. But like I said, there are going to be parallel investigations. Chuck Grassley is a great example. Now, did it take a long time for this to happen? Yeah, but see, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're going to have parallel investigations alongside the Durham Probe Special Counsel. And if Hunter gets a plea deal, a sweetheart, awesome plea deal, then they'll investigate that. Okay? The epicenter of corruption is the Democratic Party. It used to be the Republican Party 20 years ago. I'm not bound to political party, okay? It's people who are ignorant and don't know much about politics that say that Trump is the epicenter of corruption, or they have blinders on and they just see one thing, okay? If Democrats looked in the mirror and they saw honest graft taking place on a geopolitical scale, they saw the modern-day Democratic Party is Tammany Hall, but on a grandiose scale, with media and social media algorithms and all of that. Okay, you didn't have that 150, 200 years ago. Okay, but you have that now. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. I'll be back. Be here for the live stream in about a couple of hours. Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge, huge news. And I told you, parallel investigations will take place. You have to understand that is enormous for Trump going into 2024. Give me your